Did you stay up on New Year's Eve, watch the ball drop, bang pots and pans outside when the clock struck midnight? I don't know why, but I always did that as a kid. Is that still a thing? Anyway, I'm so excited to be back with you today as we start a brand new series for the month of January. It's called Rules for Life. We're talking all month long about the word responsibility. Responsibility means showing that you can be trusted with what's expected of you. Wow, no better of a way to start a new year, huh? Actually, that reminds me of a memory verse for this month. It's from Luke 16. Oh, last month's memory verse was from Luke 2. Luke 16:10 says this, "Suppose you can be trusted with something very little. Then you can also be trusted with something very large." Ooh, true. Let me say it again. Suppose you can be trusted with something very little. Then you can be trusted with something very large. We'll keep practicing that all month long. Now, before we jump into our lesson taught by Orange Kids, let's play a game. This one's called Would You Rather New Year's Edition. You know, to start the new year off right. The game is simple. You just choose which of two choices you prefer. You can shout it out, touch that side of the screen, or move to that side of the room. Invite your family to play too. Ready to make some choices? Here we go. So how'd you do? What did you choose? You know, I love the game Would You Rather because even though the choices may sometimes seem complicated, would I rather eat 12 raw onions or 12 chocolate-covered earthworms? The rules are simple. I'm always better at following simple rules. In today's story, we'll be reminded about how important rules are. I know, you may be thinking, really? Rules? Come on, Melissa. But trust me, these rules are worth talking about. Let's jump in. Count down with me. 3, 2, 1.
Inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 36 through 40.
The book of Matthew, the very first book in the New Testament, was written by, you guessed it, Matthew. Now, even though he was a tax collector and disliked by others, he became one of Jesus' followers. And years later, he wrote an eyewitness account of the things that Jesus said and did. For example, he tells us of the day that the religious leaders tried to trap Jesus with a trick question.
Teacher, which is the most important commandment in the law?
The religious leaders followed 613 different laws. They wanted Jesus to pick just one law so Jesus would get in trouble for leaving out the other 612 laws. But Jesus didn't fall into their trap. Instead, he took this opportunity to show everyone that following God doesn't have to be complicated.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Love him with all your mind. This is the first and most important commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Everything that is written in the law and the prophets is based on these two commandments.
Now, Jesus wasn't saying that the other 611 laws were wrong. He was only saying that if you look at every choice in your life through the lens of loving God and loving others, you won't go wrong. If you love God and love people, you will fulfill all the other laws. It's truly that simple. Often, it's in our darkest times that we find the most amazing opportunities to show love to others. In the past year, due to COVID-19, we've seen a lot of people put themselves on the line to help others.
Doctors, nurses, medical workers. But we've also seen grocery store cashiers and delivery workers put themselves at risk of getting sick. So each of us could have the food and supplies we need.
That's love in a big way. And you know what? Young people and kids have stepped up too.
In Reno, Nevada, a college student named Jade Powell recruited a few friends to help elderly people buy their groceries during the pandemic. Within a few days, the idea took off. more and more volunteers jumped in to help shop and drop off groceries on the doorstep of older individuals. Within weeks, shopping angels reached all 50 states and other countries too, all because one student saw a need and chose to stop and show God's love.
Sometimes showing love to others only takes a few minutes.
In Columbus, Ohio, Taryn, who is 9, and Calliope, who's 6, knew their elderly neighbor loved classical music. Because she was in isolation and couldn't go out, they took a concert to her front porch. For 30 minutes, they played a private cello concert just to brighten her day. It was a simple and amazing way to show love to others.
Let's look at one more story.
In Portland, Oregon, a high school junior named Julia Lynn quickly realized that with school closed, some kids and families would not be able to get enough to eat. She put out the word online in her community, requesting food donations. Within days, she received over 400 responses. Julia picked up each donation herself, and with the help of the school student government, she set up distribution centers where families in need could pick up the food. In helping provide food to hungry people, Julia was clearly showing God's love in action.
God loves us so deeply. He's done so much for us, it's our responsibility to take that same love and show it to others. As Paul reminds us in the book of 1 Timothy,
"Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. Set an example for the believers in what you say and in how you live. Also, set an example in how you love in what you believe."
don't wait for somebody else to go first. Now is your time. Now is your chance to love God by loving others.
Have you ever noticed how many rules there are in life? Look both ways if we're crossing the street. No talking in class. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. When you read the Bible, you'll see even more rules. There are hundreds of rules and commandments from God here. Learning all of them would be really complicated, even if you studied them your entire life. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be complicated. Jesus said that all of God's commandments, all of his rules, are based on just two. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love God, love others. It's simple. When you follow those rules, all the other rules are taken care of. After all, you're not always going to have the rule book with you, so when you're in a situation when you're not sure what the rules are, just ask yourself, how can I love God through this? Or, am I loving other people? That should help you stay in the game. So here's the one thing to remember today. This is the most important rule for life. Love God, love others. Let me say that again. The most important rule for life is love God, love others. If you follow Jesus, then loving others and loving God is your responsibility. And I'd say that's a great responsibility to have in 2021 and something we can start today. Before we head out, let's practice loving God and loving others with a few new worship songs for January. Stay connected, K3. Have a great week.
My heart was captured, sin held me captive. Now 'cause of you, God, I'm set free. I feel like dancing, I can't help moving. I got this crazy joy creeping up in me. Whoa, let's wake the city up. Whoa, when the crowds go home and the hype dies down, we will sing 'cause we're unashamed. Just like Paul and Silas, when I stay quiet, whenever we praise, we sing with voices of freedom. We sing with voices of freedom. We sing with voices of freedom. You give me purpose, you keep your promise. I hear your spirit call to me, to be the difference, to live for Jesus, to shine a light now for all to see. Let's wake the city up. When the crowds go home and the hype dies down, we will sing 'cause we're unashamed. Just like Paul and Silas, when I stay quiet, whenever we praise, we sing with voices of freedom. We sing with voices of freedom. We sing with voices of freedom. Whatever the calling, whatever the moment, we'll sing. Whatever the calling, whatever the moment, we'll sing with voices of freedom. When the crowds go home and the hype dies down, we will sing 'cause we're unashamed. Just like Paul and Silas, when I stay quiet, whenever we praise, we sing with voices of freedom. When the crowds go home and the hype dies down, we will sing 'cause we're unashamed. Just like Paul and Silas, when I stay quiet, whenever we praise, we sing with voices of freedom. 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 I lay my life down at your feet. You're the only one I need. I turn to you and you are always there. In troubled times it's you I see.